Good morning, guys and girls. How's it going? Screezilla here, and I hope you're all well. And today, you are catching me playing. Let's just fix that. There we go. We are playing light cruisers. Yeah, light cruisers are actually in the game. I know, it's come quickly, hasn't it? So let's take out the Italian. Soldati, not Soldati, Condottieri class cruiser. So we'll take that out first and see how things go.
One eternity later.
Ah, huzzah! And we are back. So we finally got a game after many minutes of waiting. So, as you can see, the map is very large. We go from C to MA. So they have enlarged the map, but we are here. So, we have the Bartolomeo Colleoni, which is our cruiser. We have the Soldati and the MS-74, which is our little torpedo boat. We're taking out the cruiser, by the way. We're not worrying about everything else. So, what have we got? HE, HE, AP, HE. Let's, as you can see, we've got a lot of rounds on this ship. The 100mm guns, we've got a fair amount of shots on there. I'm thinking maybe 150 H, about 150 HE. It doesn't matter, we can't really change the APHE, so there we go. No, we can only have 144 of them, so oh well. Let's take as many as we can of those HE rounds. Okay, let us see. So we got a point here, and we've got a point here. So let's spawn out over here. So the cruiser. Oh, it's very pretty, isn't it? So we are in the Italian cruiser, first of all. I thought I would take out the Condottieri class, just because it's going to be probably the worst of the cruisers. Now, as you can see, there are cruisers on the horizon 12,000 kilometers away. So some pretty decent size on the old distance there. Now, the Condottieri class... actually, before we get into combat and we start talking about the ship in a bit more detail, I'm just going to talk a little bit about gameplay. If I don't crash. Yep, I've crashed. Yay, crashing. Okay, and we are back again, once more into the breach, hopefully, and we won't crash this time. Fingers crossed. Alright, so, let's click on our spawn, take out the Condottieri class cruiser. Okay, so what I was going to say before I got rudely interrupted by the game dying on me, was that, where was I? What was I going to say? What was I going to say? Okay, the game modes, yeah. So, one thing that I think needs to change for naval forces is the game modes. We've seriously got some very, well, can't really say poor, but I have to say poor in all honesty. Poor game modes. The problem is, with the game modes, they're very... not very useful for some incoming fire here from the enemy. They're not very engaging, and I think maybe that it's because it's the cap a point style of gameplay. Now we're firing our 152mm guns here. The enemy is firing a broadside on us. We're going to turn slightly so we can actually do a full broadside on these guys. Apparently the light cruisers are too heavy. So, yeah, the game modes. I think we need... They had that convoy style of gameplay a while back, which was really, really interesting. And actually something different. And that was kind of cool. But we don't really have that anymore. We just have these capture the flag sort of style game modes. And it just doesn't really work for this style of gameplay. I think we need to actually change it up slightly. Now we are firing at very long range here. We're just basically wing and a prayer firing. Not probably going to hit much in all honesty. Now this guy has basically cut me off, which is not going to be useful. We've got some incoming fire now. Let's start smoking up. Now, the Condottieri class cruiser is basically a destroyer hunter. That was its main role in life. As a cruiser cruiser fighting ship, it wasn't very effective. In fact, it got an absolute hammering when it first came out. A few of the ships of the class were actually destroyed. I think it was HMS Sydney sank this exact ship in 41, I think it was, or 42. They really did suffer quite a lot. And that's mainly because of their light armour. Now, these ships were designed to take on the Condottieri French destroyers, basically. They're basically a destroyer hunter. They're not really suitable for cruiser action. Much like the Italian destroyer is basically a PT boat hunter, the Italian cruiser is a destroyer hunter. So this is basically a destroyer compared to the destroyer, which is basically a PT boat. I know it gets confusing. Now this is a big ship, of course. It has... what was the complement on board? It had a crew of around 500 to 640 men on board, so it is a very big old boat. Now, it's not as big as the Emerald class. It's not nearly as well armoured as the Emerald class either. We are getting towards sea here. Now, I am glad that they actually did put the spawns quite far out. Now our secondaries are going to start lighting up now this guy across the island. Can't really see him though. Should actually see this guy. Now I'm going to start taking some serious fire now, I think. So bit of a blind firing here. Secondaries are hitting that target pretty well. We've managed to just damage the smokestacks. Now, if we pop out from behind this island, we are going to get absolutely wrecked by enemy ships. There's the guy we set on fire. I'm going to try and get the elevation just right. We are flooding, so we're taking some damage here. Now, we're not able to get our main guns on target here, on those guys, but these guys are definitely within our range. Gun jam, apparently. We've got a salvo incoming from this guy. Hit on the front gun of whoever that was. And we got a nice hit on the deck there of that guy as well, down to the smokestack again. Firing something, I can't see what it is. Our secondaries are definitely doing their work, but God knows what they're firing at. Again, we're just a little bit too low. We're just going to slowly move out here. Smoke screen being laid, which isn't really going to help us at the moment. But let's see if we can't get to that secondary island. So I'm going to pop our smoke as well. And we are going to pop on full speed and try and get behind that smaller island. So yeah, these ships were basically for hunting of destroyers more so than cruisers and things like that. They're one of the weaker ships of the cruiser lines, but they're still a cruiser, damn it. So it's pretty awesome to have cruisers. Some good hits on that guy's engine room. He's showing us a very nice broadside. Now we have switched to the AP shells here. So we've damaged the engine and the smokestacks and funnels. Try and get a hit on the front of that ship. A little bit too far away. And some good hits there again. Now we're using the APHE here. So if we can get the front of the ship, we might be able to get ammo rack, possibly. A little bit lower, a bit further in. Good hits. We've managed to take out that guy's engine. So, gunnery is okay, taking out the front of his ship as well. So, one more room and that guy should be dead. There we go, he's actually dead now. So, there is something to our right side as well. Our secondaries are lighting it up like a Christmas tree at the moment. We are losing this game, and we have basically lost this game because all of our team are using cruisers pretty much, and they have used the destroyers and PT boats. Now, this guy is basically just a bit too high up for us, and we just can't get our guns to bear. We might hopefully get a couple of hits on them. But the majority of our guns are just going straight into the ground there, rather than doing anything. But hopefully our 100mm guns will light this guy up for us. We're getting quite a few kill assists today. So we're going to go full speed forwards in a second. Try and turn. I've not seen any aircraft, so that's interesting. I would like to see how the AA guns do on this thing. Can't hit this guy from this position. And that might just be because we are in the Italian, they may be in the British cruiser, and they might be able to get the elevation a little bit better than our guns. But hopefully our secondaries will just keep bothering this guy. And maybe the 100mm guns will do something to them. Now we're going to try and get around this island before the game ends. And hopefully get a kill. But I doubt it very much. Yeah, as I say, these ships are basically more for hunting destroyers than hunting cruisers, so we are going to suffer by taking on an Emerald class head on. As you can see, we've taken a little bit of damage overall, nothing major. Our engine's a little bit damaged, things like that. And we have got a cruiser basically sitting in their spawn as well. Now too. As you can see, the majority of people, I think, are basically on their team are probably in the sort of PT boats and things like that, rather than the cruisers. A little bit farther. Hopefully our secondaries will get this guy on target. The gunning still feels a bit wonky sometimes. You just feel like it just isn't working for you, and you sort of go, where am I meant to aim? It just feels a little bit off sometimes with how it works. That looks like a good shot. There we go. Right on target there. Looks like an Emerald over there, I think. No, actually, it's another Italian cruiser. Basically fighting ourselves right now. Looks like some good shots on front target. There we go. Straight into that. Straight into the hull. Destroy the hull. We've got the enemy here as well, so we're going to get on target. That is definitely an Emerald. So we're going to be able to hit them from the back here. And they're not focusing on us, which is nice. We're presenting a very nice broadside here. Hopefully the 100mm should do their job. It's a bit hard to actually see what we're firing. We've got some shots coming in from... Where's the shots coming in from? I'll see where the shots are coming from. That guy is pretty much doomed though. We're being shot from the front, I think. I'm not sure who's shooting us. There we go, we're being shot by these guys here. And we are on fire, very much on fire. We're pretty much doomed right here. We will just launch some desperation torpedoes, maybe, but no, we're not going to be able to. Our guns are down, we've got a P-108 in the air. That just took out a Soldati, nice work. But they are not doing so well now. Our guns are all jammed at the moment. And we're basically in their spawn, as you can see. We have just got into their spawn. Well, I think the gameplay is okay. There's still a sort of lack of information on what's happening. We're almost out of ammunition as well, actually. Didn't notice that one. It's kind of hard to see where your main guns are firing as well. They just sort of... We have got a plane incoming as well. So we've got a critical hit on that plane. Bombs incoming. And we've managed to destroy the plane. We did get damaged by it, but we are alive still. Smoke screen's not really doing much at the moment, other than not allowing us to see what's shooting at us. So we are pretty much sunk here by a tribal class destroyer, which is pretty accurate to what will happen in these situations. Yeah, so let's just take out a PT boat for the fun of it. Yeah, it's pretty, look, as you can see, we've got light cruisers in this section here, right in the zone of the the spawn of the PT boats, in fact. Wow, okay, so that's kind of interesting. So, I think they need to rework some of the maps, in all honesty, for cruisers to work properly. They're kind of interesting, kind of fun, but it feels more like a forced gameplay submission. Not... How to explain it properly? It doesn't feel like a cruiser. It feels more like a the cruisers feel very very weak and not very cruiser-like. They should feel like absolute bosses, where in fact they just feel a bit dull. At least the Italian variant of the cruiser does feel a little bit like that. It's a bit more like a destroyer than a cruiser, and that is one of the problems with that ship, though. So, we'll end the video there. Now, originally, this was actually a very long video. I'm actually going to split it into two. So, next up, we will be taking the Emerald out and seeing how well that fares. And I can let you know in advance that video is much more interesting, and that ship is a much better ship as well as a cruiser. Alright guys, until next time, this is me, Screezilla, out. Bye bye. Waiting, waiting, waiting and waiting and waiting. Waiting, waiting, waiting and waiting and waiting. I just want to make this bloody video and get to the shops already. Hurry up.